Yo, this is Soul Drum 86 bringing you another video. And yes, today we are going to talk about WWE 2K25. Now, by the time that I release this video, maybe there'll be more information out. But I just got to keep it 100 with you guys, man. I got to keep it real. And I wasn't really that excited about the trailer. Um, well, correction, I wasn't excited at all about the trailer. Graphics look good as always. You can tell some slight differences. Like it looked like the lighting, which that's something that a lot of games do, specifically 2K games in general. Every year to make the game look like it has like different graphics, like they do something with like lighting and like just textures and a little bit. They just kind of up things a little bit, so it makes it look a little bit better when technically it kind of looks exactly the same. I don't know. It's weird. So graphically, the game never has any issues. Um, Another positive is they finally are going the route, and I mentioned this before. They are finally going the route of if you're going to have the game on both generation consoles, like meaning this current gen and last gen, make the current gen one have a lot of different features, make it its own game. It does suck for people who still have a PS4 and Xbox One, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, NBA 2K has been doing this since the PS4 released. I remember that being one of the games that, not just speaking for me, for a lot of people, it's kind of cool to actually see over time. So many people say the same thing, where what made them get the PS4 was after seeing what made them go out and pre-order it was seeing what NBA 2K looked like. And I remember during that time, if you got NBA 2K on PS4 as opposed to the PS3 version, it was a completely different game, not only with the way that it looked, but also the features in the game and modes and all of that stuff. They made it a completely different experience. It really technically wasn't even the same game anymore. And they continue to do that with the PS4 version of NBA 2K and the current gen version of NBA 2K. They make it to where it's a different experience. It'll have different modes, different, you know what I'm saying? It's a different experience. Um, but the PS4 and PS5 one are closer together just because it's not that different. But and WWE 2K has never done that. Now, when 2K15 came out, they did have it to where the THQ version was on it was 2K, but the THQ like graphics and gameplay and everything was still on the PS3 and Xbox 360. But if you got 2K15 on the PS4 and the Xbox One, you had the completely different looking graphics. There was different game modes, but there was actually more to do in the PS3 version. Like the 2K15 version of on that next gen at that time, it was very bare bones, very bare bones. So it's nice that finally, after all of these years, 2K finally wised up and they're making next gen only features. Like the island is only next gen. That's good. All of that stuff, right? That's what you want to do if you're gonna have both. If you're gonna have it come out on both generation consoles, at least make the current gen one different. So they're doing that finally. Thank you. Um, but overall, I'm really not excited. I mean, they showed what they showed. They always make this stuff look good, but it just looking good is not what is going to satisfy me in the long run. I mean, it has to be this game has to deliver on all fronts. Has to deliver. It's been interesting to see it happen in real time with the way that people treat this game. Now, for those of you who love 2K, who have always enjoyed 2K, 2K has everything that you ever wanted in a game. You don't mind the modes, even though you want some things to be a little bit different. I'm not really speaking to that audience. The audience that I'm speaking to in this video is the audience that's very much like me, where, there's a lot of negatives that you have on 2K. You're always disappointed very quickly in 2K after the release of the game. Um, I've seen it from content creators, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that anybody shouldn't make videos. Like, here's the thing: you have to spell a lot of things out for people on YouTube, and it's very annoying. And I don't know why this is. Like when I made my first video talking about like, the island and why did they push the island before they updated the other modes. And some of the things that people were saying, it was like, wait a minute, what are you guys talking about? Did you listen to the video? Because I explained everything in the video. Thank God the vast majority of you understood what I was talking about in that video and were agreeing with me. But there were a lot of people who claimed crapping on the game, which no. And then there was a lot of people who were like, well, this is I don't know, the way that they were saying appreciate brand new mode, blah, 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 blah. New modes are always welcome. I was simply saying, get your house in order before you do that, though. Get everything else working the way that fans have been asking for it to work before you add in something new. And the other point that I was making in that video is with the time and money and resources that it took to make the island, right? Because this is something that they've been developing for years. This didn't just come out of nowhere. Take that same time and resources to update the other game modes in your game. That's all that's all that I was saying. The island, in theory, isn't a bad idea. But we're going to get into that because first I want to talk about real quick, like I was mentioning, it's interesting to see all of this play out in real time. And if you pay attention, which doesn't take a lot to pay attention to what happens year in and year out with this franchise. So you'll see the same kind of loop, right? 2K gets ready to come out. People get hype. People get really hype. They start having speculations. Some of the speculations turn out to be true. Some of the speculations turn out to be false. But regardless, people are very hyped. They go out and they pre-order. This game is awesome, or it's going to be awesome. As soon as the game releases, the first impressions of the game are always fantastic. Always fantastic. Give it 2 to 3 weeks, and then you start seeing the videos come out. Ooh, this is broken. This is broken. Well, we still can't do this, or we still can't do that. Or I thought this would be more. It's not really what they explained it would be. And then, oh, there's a patch that came out today. Give it about a day or two. The patch messed this up. I can no longer do this because of the patch. I remember, what was it, 2K22? And I don't think they ever fixed it, where you really couldn't run to one of the corners of the ring. They would just run, and then they would finally stop. They would just be running at the turnbuckle. And then it was like, wait, what is going on? I can't remember if it was like the turnbuckle. Yeah, I want to say it was the turnbuckle. There was one side of the ring where they really couldn't go into the turnbuckle. Sometimes they would, but a lot of the times it would glitch. And they never fixed it. But I digress. There's issues with the game, like in 2K24 last year when they patched it. Our calls turned out to be bald. I remember trying to play with Hercules after the patch, and Hercules was bald. I was playing with the Hillbilly Jim. He was bald. My head shrinkers were bald. King Haku was bald. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? Crazy. So, patches will ruin the game and so on and so forth. And then we get into there's really not much good to say about 2K. The only people left that are really singing its praises are the people who are enjoying what they can enjoy in universe mode. I see it all the time. I'm on Reddit, and I'm going to be honest, it's cool to see people be excited about that mode. I'm not judging them in the least. I'm not judging them at all. Again, I have to spell things out. I'm not judging those people at all. It actually makes me happy to see those people ask, who is your champions in your universe mode and what feuds do you have going on? It's people making the best out of honestly a crappy situation. It really is. That's what I see when I see people talk about universe mode and try to compare universe modes with each other. They oh, what titles are you using? Did you use like all custom titles? Are you using the old school titles and new school titles? All this stuff. You have those people that will be playing the game all throughout the year, keeping spreadsheets so they can follow what's going on in their universe that they're creating. But then for the most part, you see a lot of the content creators, they either start to slow down the content of 2K and they do other things on their channel, or when they do bring up 2K, a lot of the content, it starts to be more negative and more negative and more negative. And then it starts to be 2K needs to do this better. They need to do that better. They need to think about implementing this and implementing that. And then towards the summer, when we get the last DLC and then like all of that is done, it's like people start reviewing the DLC packs pretty much the rest of the way. But then after that, it's kind of like, okay, things were okay, but these things in this game could be better. And then what happens next 2K season? The same thing. People are cautious. People are saying what 2K needs to do. People are saying what 2K should do. And then 2K teases them with something and they tease another thing and then they tease another thing. And then people just start getting excited and more excited and more excited. And then they start showing stuff and then people are like, oh, all is forgotten, this game is going to be awesome, I'm pre-ordering. It's one of two things. It's gamers, we can't learn our lesson. It's a marketing thing, because I used to be in marketing is very powerful. I don't think people realize the art of marketing, and especially when you market something good. Like seriously, you can market the hell out of something to where it literally brainwashes people. And I feel like sometimes that's what happens. I feel like 2K is so good at their marketing and hyping people up for their next game that it literally is like it's almost like being hypnotized. And I honestly think that that's what happens in a way, right? Um, But yeah, you just see the same thing, rinse and repeat. Get hype for game. Game comes out. First impressions are great. Then the cracks start to show. The game starts to break. They start to patch it. It breaks something. They do another patch. It breaks something else while fixing the last issue that broke. It rinse and repeat. Or, oh, they added this mode or this match type in that I thought was going to be great, but at the end of the day, I really didn't like it that much. How many people were still doing casket matches? How many people were still doing ambulance matches? Because all over the internet, I kept seeing, and I agree with the system to win those games. It was just the submission system, and people didn't like that. I know specifically for me in the ambulance match, they made it way too difficult to close that ambulance door. You could beat somebody to a bloody pulp and they could still keep you from closing that door on them. I understand when you try to throw them in and they're not totally weak yet. And if you're building in like intensity in your match, you want to on purpose throw them in there sooner just so you can have them open the door. But after you get their whole body red, a dark red, you should be able to close that thing no problem. The casket match was a little bit easier for you to close the casket, but it's still nonetheless, it is the submission system to win those matches. Special guest referee, very awesome that it's back, but how many people continue to do that throughout the year? And I know that there's going to be some, so you don't even have to put your comment down. Like I did special guest referee in all of those matches throughout the year, yes, but a lot of people that I follow. The reason why I don't like saying people's names is because when you start saying people's names and it's not really coming from a 100% positive like standpoint, and you're just bringing their name up, it could be looked at as you're dissing them, and that's not the case because I'm subscribed to this person and I like their content. But even this person that I'm specifically talking about, they even said on one of their videos, I think one of their lives, that yeah, I did special guest referee and all of those match types like the first month or so, but then I kind of stopped. And I was hearing that from a lot of people. Not saying that it's bad to have match types in there. I think it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, we also got to remember that, you know, the match types aren't going to be the one thing that make this game last. And then we get to the island. Another reason, and probably I didn't bring this up much, but this is very important. In my last video, when I talked about the island, I forgot to mention this. And this is something that I don't know what's happening with people's brains. I really, really don't. I really, really don't know what is happening to people's brains. Again, I've said it before. When somebody shows you who they are, you have to believe them. When they show you exactly who they are, you have to believe them. Tell me why you think the island won't be monetized in some sort of way. Even if it's not heavily monetized, make no mistake that the years after, I'm talking 2K26, 27, 28, 29, whatever, in the years after, trust and believe that this game is going to monetize the hell out of that mode. It will be the city, essentially. Just because they're giving it a different name doesn't mean anything. Just because it's the island of relevancy or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're not going to monetize. Just because it's wrestling doesn't mean that they're going to, that doesn't mean that they're not going to monetize it. Look at my faction. Look at how many fans fought against my faction. 2K kept it in there like they didn't even hear you guys saying it. Let me not say you guys, us, because I don't even want it. I don't want it in the game. They literally, when they heard we didn't like it, they put their hands over their ears. They said, la, 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 la. Forget what you saying. This mode is staying. And trust and believe, you are going to play this mode because we're going to make it to where you have to play this mode. We'll find our ways. And what happened this past year? People started playing my faction more than they ever have before. Even though it's a mode that a lot of people, the vast majority, don't like, we saw the money that people were spending on my faction. I can't remember what video I put it in, but I put it in one of my earlier videos last year. I talked about the reasons why people started playing my faction. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think that they didn't focus on a lot of the other game modes as much over time, like universe mode, not updating it as much. Now, this might be a stretch, but I feel like they didn't update it as much because they wanted people to get so sick of all the other stuff that's in the game that they had no choice but to, hey, let me just, I guess, try out my faction, because I personally am subscribed to 2K YouTubers who said they would never touch that game mode. And what did they do last year? They played that game mode. They made more videos about that game mode. But back in 23, they didn't. Back in 22, they didn't. Now make it make sense. Now, the reason why I think people started playing that game mode more is because everything else in the game was lacking. They were getting bored with My Rise. People already don't like the format of My Rise. I don't like the format of My Rise, but the reason why I play through it is because I like seeing the cutscenes, because the cutscenes are actually pretty good. Makes it feel like you're watching the product on TV. But the cell phone stuff, being in the locker room, I don't like that. Talking to the wrestlers and all that. It's boring and tedious. I feel like 2K knew this. They read the comments. They know what people don't like. Showcase. People didn't appreciate Showcase this year. Almost more than any other year in the past. People are sick of the slingshot tech, which it looks like we still have in 2K25, judging by that trailer. Slingshot tech is still there. Come on, man. They knew that people were going to start to play my faction. And now my faction is really going to stick around because of the money that people put into it. Trying to get the persona cards and all of that other stuff, man. My faction became bigger than it ever has been since they implemented it into the game. So you think that 2K is not going to take advantage of it in the island? This is what gaming is. This isn't even just a 2K thing. This is just what gaming is. Any amount of money that they can get from the consumer, trust and believe they're going to try to bleed you dry. It is no longer just about buying the game. They're not happy with that. It's not even It's not even good to just buy the season pass and like the DLC separately. That doesn't even matter to them anymore. It's all about the microtransactions. This is the same company that makes NBA 2K, and look at where NBA 2K is at. You think that that won't happen here? It's already happened with my faction. And you should see the amount of videos that I'm seeing from people that I respect, from people that I enjoy their content and respect. There are so many people saying, hopefully they don't monetize it like they do NBA 2K's The City. Bro, why wouldn't they? You can hope all day that they're not going to monetize it. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can hope all day. But this is the 2K way. We can hope all day that they will not monetize the island. But come on, man. What are we going to do? You think we're just going to go around and have matches with random people and just walk around and do stuff without having to spend virtual currency, which AKA is also real money if you buy virtual currency? Come on, man. This is what 2K does. This is the gaming industry. This is the gaming industry. So when I made that video, that was another point to bring up that I left out, because it was more so, my last video was more so about why are you ignoring other modes to then put in this big mode. Now, for what it's worth, as of right now, of this recording that I'm doing right now, they could have added so much to universe mode, which is all good, and that would be welcomed. But for the people thinking or hoping that the island won't be monetized, I mean, you should see the comments. Hopefully they don't monetize it. Hopefully don't This is 2K, guys. This is 2K. Any chance that they get, they will nickel and dime us. Any chance that they get. I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. We better hope. We better hope that one day they don't touch community creations in a negative way. We better hope that they don't. And the island is going to be a mode from what it seems and for what it's supposed to be. This is going to be a mode where you create your own wrestler. So you're probably going to walk around in a beat up looking shirt. You know how like what is it in NBA 2K when you first create your character, you're in a brown horrible looking shirt and sweatpants, gray like sweatpants, the dreadful look that everybody hates. So they immediately go out to get clothes, and a lot of the times they go out and make purchases to get clothes. You think that it's not going to be something similar to that with 2K? They're going to have you be able to dress your character, get cool clothes, buy suits if they want, if you want your character to wear a suit or something like that. Trust me, man. They maybe not this year, but even next year, they're going to have it where you can probably ride a skateboard to some section of the island. You get to ride a bike or a vehicle of some sort. Listen, listen, man. This is a 2K game. The reason why I'm making this video is just to say this. With 2K, we always have to proceed with caution, because every year we are sold a promise that things will get better, that this year is going to be different, and that this is going to be one of the best games that they've made in a long time. Then when we get the game and we play it and we experience it, we notice that it has fallen short of that. So how often are we going to continue to allow the great marketing to fool us? I'm standing strong, and I am very happy with the fact that I'm not letting the trailer do to me what it's doing to everybody else. As of right now, I'm not going to let features in the game modes do to me what it's doing to everyone else. Do I like that they bringing back chain wrestling? Absolutely. Absolutely. If universe mode is better and actually really good, am I happy about that? Absolutely. Hopefully they got rid of the stupid fighting stances and the way that the wrestlers walk around the ring. If they get rid of that, I'll be happy. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy it day one. That doesn't mean I'm going to buy it the first month. I am going to play the wait and see game. I am going to play the game of let me wait until the content creators start really talking about what this game is like. Before I end this video, I just want to say the one game that I am still very excited for is Ultra Pro Wrestling. If you go to their website and you click on their drop down and you go to Legacy Career and just read through Legacy Career, for anybody wanting to know what I want in a wrestling game, if I haven't already explained it enough in the videos that I do about 2K, if you want to know what I want in a wrestling game, just read that write-up. Read that write-up of what Ultra Pro Wrestling is going to have. Being able to fight or wrestle anywhere in the country, right? You can fight over in Japan. You can fight over in Mexico, the USA, the UK. You can fight. You have to watch out for promoters. Watch your paychecks, things like that. Reunite with old friends, make enemies. The storyline is going to literally be dynamic. It's literally written there. The storyline is going to be dynamic. So me playing it, you who's listening, the other person who's listening to this video, the other person who's listening to this video or watching this video, the other person who's listening to this video, we can all have a very different experience in our legacy career mode because it's all based off the choices that we make. Forming tag teams, breaking up with tag teams. You get to choose when you want to betray somebody. Somebody could betray you. And this was confirmed even more when Jesse from Pro Wrestling Shoots did the interview with one of the guys from Ultra Pro Wrestling. And he stated, because Jesse was saying it in a joking way, he said, are we going to be on our cell phones in career mode in the locker room? He said, no. He said, but if you wanted to smash somebody's head through an arcade machine in the hallway, you can. And then Jesse was like, wait, what? Go back and watch that video. And the guy is dropping all of these nuggets of what the game is going to have in it. You know, I made a video not too long. Well, it was too long ago now. It was like midway through. It was somewhere around the summer, I want to say, when I made this video. And I talked about, wouldn't it be cool if 2K had a story mode that was dynamic and it was based off of the things that you did on how feuds and rivalries and stuff started? Well, Ultra Pro Wrestling is going to have that dynamic story, being able to make friends, make enemies. Then it says reunite with old friends. And there's much, much more. I don't have the write up in front of me, but that's typically what I want in a wrestling game. That's what I want, because it's about the wrestling. It's not gimmicky. It's about the wrestling. They said, I think it also said after you finished one decade before the DLC for the other decade, because they're going to have it. It's going to be DLC related, like expansion packs. So when you first start, you're going to start in the 80s and then the 90s and then the early 2000s and so on and so forth. And they say once you finish through a decade of storylines and progressing your character, you get to go back and then you can customize it. So it leaves room for replay value. You can replay a decade. You know how many times I'm going to do that? They even said that when the new DLC pack comes out for like the 90s era, you can either use the wrestler that you were using in the 80s, or you could pick a different wrestler completely. But the fact that through one playthrough, then you can go back and start editing everything and customizing everything. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's what I want in a wrestling game. A game that allows me to pick from the existing roster. A game that has dynamic storytelling, because honestly, dynamic storytelling, it means that wins and losses are going to matter. It means like, it's going to make the difference between how your character is going to be. And that's one of the most next gen things that I can think of, because we have not gotten that with these wrestling games. Nothing on the PS4 had that. Nothing currently on the PS5 has that. Nothing. Like I said before, guys, just pump the brakes. You can be excited, but this is 2K. I think it's very important to kind of always have your antennas up and just don't be bamboozled so easily based off of, oh, this trailer looks so cool. The cover art to these special edition and deluxe editions looks so cool. Let's try not to get too ahead of ourselves, because we're only setting ourselves up for failure that way. We have to play the wait and see game. Is this going to be the 2K that's actually really fun to play? Is this going to be the 2K that's magically not riddled with bugs and game breaking issues? I don't know, because their history doesn't show that they can do that. I'm just saying, this isn't a video to hate. This is a video to just, if I can, just get everybody to be cautious. Just be a little cautious about this game. That's all, man. That's all. You can be happy, you can be excited, especially if you're a fan of the franchise. But if you're like me, like I said in the beginning of this video, if you're like me, just relax. just relax. Remember what this game has done year in and year out to us. Just remember, it usually is typically a letdown, even when they promise big things. Let me know what you feel in the comments section, man. It's your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.